harvest out of our garden all our ingredients that we're going to need in order to make our stir fry. So let me tell you everything that we are going to be putting in our stir fry. We have some garlic that I grew in my garden, and I'm going to use like 2 cloves of garlic because I love garlic. We have 1 jalapeno pepper that I have, and then I have my 2 beautiful white onions that we're going to use, and we're also going to chop up the onion tops and use those as well, because if it's coming out of the garden, we do not want to waste anything. And we have our yellow Swiss chard. Look how beautiful those leaves are. And I have cut some of the Swiss chard stems off. The reason why I did that is because the stems are going to take a little bit longer to cook versus the leaves, so I will be sauteing the stems of my Swiss chard right along with my onions, garlic, and all that kind of stuff. And we have our red Swiss chard, the rhubarb, that we're going to be adding. Also, I went out and I picked off some of my sweet potato leaves, because if you have not been introduced to sweet potato leaves, you need to try them. Sweet potato leaves are amazing. So I cut these up. What I did was I took the middle stem out of the sweet potato, and I have cut them in individual pieces so I can just cut them up and get ready to throw them into the saute pan. I also going to put squash in there because that was grown in my garden, and I'm so excited that all the ingredients here are from Miss Renee's garden. And I'm going to have like a little small turnip, white turnip, and I'm going to put a red beet in there. And then I have some of my bell peppers that I grew out of my garden. They were the green, the yellow, and the red bell peppers that I have chopped up, and they are ready to rock and roll. And then on this plate, we're going to have some onion tops, we're going to have some carrots, and we're going to have some green beans. Doesn't all these ingredients look amazing, you guys? And I'm also going to throw in some of this lunchbox peppers that I have dehydrated. I've made it into a very nice spicy blend, and we're going to be using some black pepper. Always, you got to put a little in our stir fry. So that is everything that is going in to Miss Renee's stir fry. So let's get to chopping, and then once I get everything chopped up, then we're going to head on over to the stove and we're going to get to sauteing. And then I'll tell you other ingredients that I will be putting in my stir fry once we start dropping them in that saute pan and getting it all together. Alright guys, are you ready to get this stir fry going? Because I know I am excited about having all these ingredients coming right outside in my outdoor garden. My own little grocery store. Can you imagine going to the grocery store and have to pay for all these ingredients? The way prices are, it is better to have them growing in your backyard. Alright guys, let's get to cooking. Guys, let's put this stir fry together. So the first thing we are going to do is that you can use any type of skillet that you prefer. I like a wide mouth skillet, stainless steel, because it seems to conduct the heat a little bit better for me. And I'm using this extra virgin olive oil, and I put about maybe 3 tablespoons in there, excuse me. And then I'm going to add my garlic that came freshly out of my garden, which I am so excited about because the smell alone is better than any garlic that you would get in any store. So we're going to saute this garlic. Ugh, the smell is just amazing, you guys. So we're going to just saute this. And then the next ingredient that we will be putting into our saute pan will be the onions. So we got some onions in here. I got onions on this side, and then I have our Swiss chard stems So we're going to just put the onions in here so we can get them nice and clear and tender. Because you gotta have onions, because onions just makes any type of dish so flavorful and just makes you just, I don't know, it just enhances the flavors of everything that you cook with, and then you need to add the onions and it just brings out that aromatic, the smell and everything. So we're going to put onions in there with our garlic. You know, they really need to invent smell-o-vision because this smell is so pungent and aromatic. And the next thing we're going to add in there is going to be our bell peppers. Look how colorful. I don't know if you guys know, but cooking with color just always makes your eye, and it just makes you want to enjoy the dish more because of all the colors and stuff. Just seems to get all your senses going. So we have garlic in there, we have onions, and then we have our melody of my bell peppers, which are the red, the green, the yellow. We got them going. So we're just going to let that kind of like marry together and get all their flavors to become as one. And look at that. Look how colorful that is. Doesn't that make you want to just eat it now? Oh, gosh. It's just amazing. So we're going to add our green onion tops into there as well. Make sure we get all that. We don't want to miss not one green onion top. What do you guys think? Doesn't that look like a delicious dish in the making? You wait till we put those Swiss chard stems in there. That's really going to make this saute pan come to life. Now we're going to put a little heat in there, and we're going to add one of our one jalapeno pepper. Kind of like get it all kind of like sauteed, get all the vegetables and stuff nice and soft before we start adding our seasonings to it. And let's put in our beets and our turnip, because those are hard and those are going to take a little bit more time to get tender. So we're going to start that right at the beginning of our cooking. Same thing with the Swiss chard stems. I'm about to add those in a few minutes. Alright, let's put those in there. I'm just going to dump all that in our little saute pan. And look at that. Look at the color. Isn't that amazing? Just look at that. Isn't it beautiful? Let me give you a closer look. Look at that. Gorgeous. Isn't that gorgeous? Alright, so we're going to let that saute in there until they're nice and tender. Let's start adding our seasonings in here. We're going to put a little pepper in here. And this spice I made myself out of the lunchbox peppers. So we're just going to add some of that in there. And I'm a little heavy-handed. So I like a lot of seasoning, because when you're cooking, you want your food to have a lot of flavor. You just don't want it to be, you know, just blah. When you sit down and you take that first bite, you want your senses to just come alive. So that looks beautiful. So we're just going to let that simmer. And then when it's all done and nice and tender, then I'll come back and we will go to the second part of this dish. But just this dish alone, look at that. The colors of the Swiss chard stems, the turnips, you got the beets, you have your bell peppers, you have your onions, you got the jalapenos in there, and the garlic. Oh no, this is just amazing. And the smell, whew, I can't stop saying that because the smell is just out of this world. Alright guys, I'm just going to let this saute, and then when all these ingredients are nice and tender, then I'll come back and we will continue our stir fry. I have let this cook for like about 20 minutes, and everything is nicely, it has gotten soft, the vegetables have gotten really nice and tender. And the one thing I'm going to tell you is that if you do not like turnips, then, because turnips has a very distinctive flavor in their own right, so if you do not like turnips, then I would leave the turnips out of this dish. But you know, one thing I did discover is that these beets right here, these beets are amazing in this dish. Why do I say that? Because this beet adds such a sweet flavor to our dish. So if you don't like beet, don't sleep on a beet, because this beet's got it going on in this dish. It gives it that, like I said, that sweet, and it gives you another layer to this dish. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, since we're doing a stir fry, I'm going to add some soy sauce to it. And this is the low sodium soy sauce. So I'm going to add that into our dish. And then I'm going to add the other ingredients, like our carrots are going in next, and also our green beans. And don't forget, put the vegetables in here that you like. Like if I had grown like some broccoli, cauliflower, I would have put some of that in my dish. And if you can't grow the broccoli or the cauliflower, go to the store, pick you up a bag of broccoli, a bag of cauliflower, and add it to your dish. Only reason why I didn't, because I wanted to try to be able to go out in my backyard and be able to prepare something that I had in my backyard. So, next thing we're going to add is the squash. I'm going to put my squash in here. And I could have even put like some zucchini in here, but my zucchini that I have out there isn't quite ready. So we're just going to add some squash to this dish to give it some bite. So also some added color. And I just love squash. So squash is always a go-to for me. So we're going to add that in there, and look at the color, how we're building our dish. First we have like the colors of our bell peppers, the beets, like I said, the turnips. If you don't like that turnip flavor, don't put that in there. And now we have layered it with our squash, our green beans, and also our carrots. See how lovely dish that is a beautiful presentation of our dish. So I'm just going to let this take some time and kind of like give it some added time so it can get tender. We want the squash to get tender. We want our carrots to get tender. And then the very last thing we're going to be adding is all our greens. Our sweet potato leaves, our Swiss chard is going to go in next. And then after that, it'll be time to plate it up and enjoy all of our hard work that we put into this dish. Alright guys, I'm going to put a top on this saute pan so I can keep all the steam and all the goodness and all that flavor inside this pan. Alright, here we go. Let's cover up our fabulous dish, and the next time I take that lid off, it'll be time to put the greens in. Alright guys, I'll be back. Guys, it's time to take off our top and see how our stir fry is doing. It looks amazing. Now this is the most important part of the stir fry. This is the time where you need to taste your stir fry and make sure it tastes the way you want to. Because at this point of this dish, if your seasonings aren't right, when you put your greens in there, they're going to absorb all of that flavor. So you want it to absorb good tasting flavor of food that has been seasoned. So let me try. Okay. I think I just need a little bit more soy sauce. I'll put a little bit more of my lunchbox pepper in here. Because remember what I said, I always like to have a dish that is full of flavor. And maybe just a little bit of pepper. Because I can taste that jalapeno pepper in there. And it is doing this stir fry justice. Alright. So I think that should enhance the flavor profile that I like. And now it is time to add our greens. And this is the one that has our sweet potato leaves and our yellow Swiss chard and our red rhubarb. And you may think, oh, that's a lot to be putting in that one pan. But you know what? This is all going to cook down to almost nothing. So you just add it all into your pan. And then I like to lightly mix it so it can get some of those seasonings onto the greens. So the greens will absorb that seasoning. And it is going to taste amazing. So once you do that, we're going to put our top back onto our saute pan. And then when I come back, it'll be time to plate this dish up. Alright guys, it's amazing because all the ingredients that's in this stir fry came from out of Miss Renee's garden. Alright, let's leave it time to absorb all the flavors, and I'll see you back in a few minutes. Guys, it is time to take the top off and plate this stir fry up. Are you guys ready to see what it came out to be? Here we go. Doesn't that look amazing? Oh my goodness. Let me get you a closer look. Look at that. Now let's get a bowl and let's plate it up and give it a taste test. Boy, the colors alone is beautiful. Put some of my green beans and carrots on the top and these beets. So let's see, where's my squash? You know me, I'm always digging through to get to the squash because I love squash. Alright, let me give you an honest opinion of this. First, let me let you see what the dish looks like. Isn't that beautiful? Alright, let's taste it. Get some of the carrots and the Swiss chard and the beet. Let's see, here we go. It is hot. Tastes good. One thing, because I've never had Swiss chard before, the Swiss chard